Yeah, Jeff now is affiliated with the IPIA and was able to go to quite a few of the meetings as well. So, but
Sorry about that.
hey, go ahead and get the phone call, man. We're doing
hold on
podcast.
just a second. Polarize. Sorry.
This is awesome.
This is not Roy. This is Ryan.
We have just turned double digits, Jeff, on our 10th episode here. And we are going to celebrate by starting with an icebreaker here. And we have a question for you, Ryan. So what do you think of the Cowboys being in Dallas? Or not Dallas, but in Texas. My bad.
See, I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I don't like the Cowboys per se, but I've always liked Dak. Just whenever he was in college, he came across as a genuine kind of guy, and he seems like a good guy. And honestly, I feel like Cowboys fans are the hardest on him when probably 80% of the league would like having him as their quarterback. Yeah,
I know as a Titans fan, I would love to have him as
Yikes.
I would take half of Dak to come to the Falcons. So,
half.
Yeah.
As a Titans fan, I would kill to have Dak Prescott on the Titans. So.
Okay, so did you obviously being the Oilers and everything, you just followed them out here? Okay.
Yeah, I was like 8 years old when they left Houston, and I didn't realize like, hey, you're supposed to hate the owner and not follow the team. I'm like, no, screw that. I'm an Oilers fan and became a Titans fan, and so it's just
all right
what I've been. So
yeah, all right, very good.
Well, for everyone who's watching today, this is Ryan Horton that we're speaking to, and Ryan, we're excited to have you on the pod. He is the plant operations manager at Polar Ice in Brenham, Texas. But if you know Polar Ice, you know he's more than just the plant operations manager. He's the son of Roy and Patty Horton. And of course, that means he has probably many more responsibilities than that title would make it sound like. So glad to have you today, Ryan. We want to ask you, what is it like to work for your family, your mom and your dad, as an adult?
Well, I mean, it definitely has its pros and its cons. Working for family is not always the easiest. I mean, I get to see my mom, my dad, and my sister every day. If I need to take off to go see go help with kids, do stuff, it's kind of easy to say, hey, Dad, I got to do this, or hey, can I come in 20 minutes late because the kids need something dropped off at school. So it's kind of, it has its bonuses for sure. My dad, everybody knows who he is. He's a hardworking guy, and he expects that out of you. So days are fun. They can be tough. He can kind of get on you, but he expects a lot. So it's it's a fun thing.
So we'll go ahead and, since you're speaking about them, we'll go ahead and share a few images that are of your family, maybe some to do with work, some less to do with work.
Right. How big was this?
I'd have to ask him. It was a big hog, over probably 150, 200 pounds, maybe. It was a big hog. So he shot that out. So we have a concrete company that we deliver ice to, and him and one of the guys that work for have become pretty good friends, and that's actually on that guy's property, I'm pretty sure. So.
Well, and I've heard about hog hunting. I've never been myself. I'm not much of a hunter. My dad was a fisherman growing up, so heavy into the wildlife. But as far as getting out and hunting, I never did that. But the hog, they can charge. I hear it's a much more of an adrenaline kind of hunt. Is that correct?
Yeah, some people around here will go take dogs and go hunt them. They'll take the dogs, and the dogs will catch them. That one, he probably was in a deer blind, and that hog came up. A lot of the times when we go hog hunting, we'll do it at night with like night vision and thermals and stuff like that, because that's when they like to come out. So
pretty cool.
Yeah,
you guys looking like you're
like
military gear
team.
and SWAT team. You're getting out there. That's cool.
Yeah,
slight tactical advantage over these.
So tell us a little bit about this picture here.
So that is that's my mom. And looking at it, that is, I think that's Joya. I think that's my daughter Joya when she was born.
That's the
Um,
thing about kids, and especially they all
Well,
look alike.
they
I
look
you
mean,
they looked identical when
you
they
wrap
were
them up
born.
in that hospital
Yeah.
blanket. They all look the same, right?
Yeah,
right.
so she looks like she had a pink hoodie on or a pink hat on. So
Right. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, and the hospitals always put them in the gender neutral,
yeah.
swaddling stuff. So it's not like you can tell either. So how about the photo here? You got any comments about this?
So the person sitting next to me is my younger brother Chris. He lives in Oklahoma City now. He worked for us for a pretty good while. So I mean, I miss seeing him every day. He's like a best friend. I mean, we still talk all the time. Just somebody
Yeah.
to joke around and kind of take the seriousness out of work. So, and then you got my wife, my sister Heather, who's sitting next to my wife. She works here in the office with us. My daughter Julia's on her lap, and then my son Jack's mom and dad. This was on a family trip in Colorado. We do a lot of snow skiing and snowboarding, and so that's what we were doing there. So,
Okay, all right.
That's
So
awesome.
you a double diamond guy, or
uh,
you a ogle guy?
on skis, I'll do almost anything. On a snowboard, I'll ski most, or I'll board most stuff. I don't like to get too crazy on a snowboard. I'm getting up there in age, so I
Yeah,
don't want to hurt anything.
you're getting too old to fall. That's
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you're getting to what 30, maybe
38. So
38. All right. Well,
yeah,
you're pulling off 38 pretty well, my
I
friend. So.
appreciate it.
And I saw this photo, and this is one thing that I would love. I'd contemplated here in Alabama on doing something and blowing snow, and I already have a name. I'm not going to tell what the name was just in case I ever do it, but I've already registered the domain names. But I just never got to doing it. I haven't
really.
even told Jeff this before, so maybe I'll tell him off air. But this is just super cool. I mean, to be able to do something like this. So anyway,
Yeah,
well,
it's a lot of fun. So we got into it. Jesse Morales with Morales Party Ice got us into starting to doing them, and we do them every year. So it's a lot of fun.
how many would you say you guys do a year?
Um, 15 to 20. So
Okay. And how many tons of ice would it take to do something like what we see here, maybe 2 lanes?
so what you see right there is two large slides, and that's about 30,000 pounds of ice right there. So yeah.
And how many pallets would that be for
It
some
would
of
be
the people?
15, 16-pound bags, or 15 pallets of 16-pound bags. So 120 bags a pallet. And our machine runs a little faster than some people, and we can blow a pallet in about 4 minutes. So
Right. So what
Okay.
you're
yeah.
saying is you guys are better than everybody else. That's what I heard.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. We're just faster.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool.
Well, I see
Yeah.
Morales doing the slides on social, and it looks like fun. It looks like
Yeah.
fun.
We came across this photo,
Yeah.
and we pull things that we find that is entertaining to us sometimes. So
Okay.
I don't know if you've got any dialogue
So
with.
that's my sister Heather. She's 8 years younger than me. Her and Chris were probably going to a concert. They do a lot of like concerts and stuff like that. So that's probably what they were getting. There's probably a picture of my brother in there with that somewhere, and he's
Hmm.
knowing him, he has glitter on his face too. So
Well, I enjoyed getting to meet Heather at one of the recent conventions, and sat with your parents there as well. And I didn't know you had a brother. So
yep.
every guest that we have on, we end up learning something new about them. And that's at least one thing I've learned about you from
Yeah,
prepping.
yeah, we want to hop back in, talk about work a little bit,
Okay.
and tell us about PICS and what you guys are doing, and why should an Iceman care about that?
So PICS would be like your packaged ice quality control standards. So I serve on the PICS committee for IPIA, and it's basically the backbone of the industry to the association to me. It's just letting you know that the company you're getting it from has they're taking the time and the effort to make the best possible bag ice they can make, and you go buy that at the store, you know that, hey, this people are being audited. We get, audited once a year. NSF comes in and they do an audit. So you have to have like, your personal hygiene, food safety training, just all the kind of things that go into it. You got to have, date coding for, if you had to have a recall, somebody found a bolt in your bag ice, you want to know where that bag went to, and you go call the customers and get it out of the stores. So you have a better product in the market. So.
And how does that, I think you really answered it, but I didn't know if there was a different way you could put it, of not only helping you guys as producing the ice, but how does it help the end customer as well, would you say?
So you mean when you go buy my bag of ice, you know that you're getting the best quality ice you can get. And I tell people all the time, if I don't care if you buy Polar Ice or Ready Ice or Morales Ice, just look for that logo on the bag and know that you're getting a food safe product. And it's not just some guy in a convenience store with his hands that he just went and used the restroom and then went there and scooped it in a bag. It's you're getting the best product you can possibly get. So.
Right. And if you're curious, if you're just watching this first time, if you want to go back and look at one of our other episodes where we had Chris Lamond, he goes into quite a bit of detail about sanitation, and we do a deep dive about that in that episode. So talking about fecal matter and all these other stuff. So
Chris is really, really good. He's on his game, and he knows what he's doing. So he's a great asset for the association. I know that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ryan, I know that you serve on the board for the IPIA, and some of our viewers may not know much about that. I'd like you to just speak to that for a moment. Tell us, what kind of lessons have you learned from being on the board and being involved in serving in that way?
So being on the board, you get more of a say in the association. So if there's something that needs to be voted on, or, say we're trying to get PIQCS up to the highest standard you could possibly get it to be. So we're always introducing new not regulations, but new guidelines for making ice, just to make sure people get the best product. I mean, so I've been on the board. I've been on committee since 2020, and on the board, this will be my third year of a 3-year term, and like serving with guys like Jared Snyder or Chris Morse or Howard Mackey. Any of these guys have been such a help, just like teaching you anything. Anytime you have a question about anything, they will, they're quick to answer. I mean, Cliff there, Laren is great. Just being on the board has been a great thing. So
I tell you what, they're quick on the draw too. I mean, it flips 2024. I mean, they said these 2023 folks are out here.
Yeah, go on, get.
So just for anyone who's not familiar, that 2024 means this is your final year on the board, at least for this go around, and you'll rotate off and some new people will come on.
So we'll vote for some people to come onto the board. Like the big three guys get a seat every time. And then, you can serve on the board again. I could go to the executive committee and, work my way up to chairman. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy going to the meetings and hanging out with all the people that are there. It's always a good time. So.
Yeah. Jeff, now, is affiliated with the IPIA and was able to go to, quite a few of the meetings as well. So, but
sorry about that.
Hey, go ahead and get the phone call, man. We're doing a podcast.
On a second. Polar Ice. Sorry.
This is awesome.
This is not Roy. This is Ryan. He's out of the office today.
That could be our cold open right there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Work in the word banana.
Sorry about that.
We should have gave you a word.
It never fails. Well, like my mom and Heather and the other lady we have in the office, they all leave at 4 during the off season. So, and usually the phone doesn't ring.
Hey, and by the way, if people think we take out, I mean, this will be in that.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care.
This is awesome. That's awesome. I tell you what, I mean, we've already had an icebreaker, but I want to dive into another quick
Yeah,
one. And
let's get another one.
yeah, so
Let's go.
you guys are, where you're located, you're, halfway pretty much between Austin and Houston. So we just need to know which is the better city. So, if you had to do a vote of confidence or tell somebody, one place to go, which one would you tell them to go to and why?
If I'm being honest, I mean, Austin is awesome. We were there for the IPIA convention. Houston might be one of the most diverse cities in the country. Any kind of food you want, any kind of ethnicity you want to meet there. It's just Houston is great. So it's I mean, all the museums that are there. The zoo is awesome. You can go to any, like the Children's Museum. We love the Houston Museum of Natural Science is great. So if I had to pick, I'd pick Houston. So
Do you play golf at all?
I don't play well.
Okay,
So
you play at golf.
I play at golf. I hit the ball.
When someone asks me, what's your handicap, and I'll say, well, it's golf. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yes, true.
But there's a golf club that a buddy of mine was able to take me out to. I was able to go out and see him, called Loch Navar. I didn't know if you've ever heard of that golf club north of Houston area. So we don't have to get into it. Curious if you'd heard of it before.
Not offhand, I haven't. With the kids, we're more into football and baseball, and my daughter does cheerleading, and she's starting softball now. So not much. We live on a golf course, but the boy and I'll go over and hit a ball from time to time, but that's about the extent of it. So.
Okay.
Well, I have to go and ask you then about the Houston Astros, and I saw your mom wearing I saw your mom wearing a shirt earlier, and I have an affinity for just the Houston Astros colors because it's orange and blue, not the same orange and blue as my Auburn Tigers, but still orange and blue is orange and blue. But I was just kind of curious your thoughts on the 24 season and what you think they're going to do this year.
I mean, they should be up there again. They have one of the best lineups, and the pitching is going to be there again. The Rangers scare me because, I mean, they just won the World Series, and that lineup is super deep. But if you ask me in a 7-game series, I'll take the Astros every time. I've been a fan since I was probably 5 years old. So 2017, I know they get crap for hitting trash cans, which was so dumb, but that was like literally one of the best nights sports wise for me was when they won the first World Series, and then when we were in Vegas last year and they beat the Phillies to win their second. Well, I guess 2022, not last year now. So to win the second one was just as awesome. So.
It's amazing how I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, and obviously we took the series from you guys a few years ago, but just how baseball can be fairly mundane during the season, just so many games, but it hits October and a playoff game is so very different. The energy is just it's palpable.
I've been fortunate to go to some playoff games recently. My son and I were actually at the 2019 ALCS Game 6 when Altuve hit the walk-off against Chapman. The building was just amazing. I went to 2 World Series games when they lost to the Nationals. But to say I've been to a World Series is pretty awesome. It sucked to watch them lose, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, I'm at a World Series game. And my mom and I, we have a thing. If they make it to Game 6, we usually try and go to Game 6 of ALCS, and we've been pretty lucky to watch them clinch a pennant 2 times. So it's a lot of fun. So
can't imagine like Altuve sitting in there on a guy.
Man. I got goosebumps right now thinking about it. So like just talking about it. It was a surreal experience just to be in there, and because they hit a home run in the top of the 9th to tie the game, and then Chapman gets the first 2 guys out, walks Springer, and then Altuve comes up, and the rest is history. So,
what, 5'7" Altuve, something like that?
I always tell my son, I said, if you want to look up to somebody, that's who you look up to.
Right.
That guy is, I mean, he got told no, go home, we don't want you, and he's literally one of the best players in baseball, and probably, I mean, from what I've heard, probably one of the best humans. So he's just a great guy.
That's
So
good to hear.
Except for
Yeah.
beating on a trash can. So
well, if you go look at, like, there's a guy that kept the like trash can bangs or whatever, and
yeah,
his were on like 5% of pitches he saw, and it was early on in the thing, and then they kind of go away. So
yeah,
I mean, you can the fact that they did it. I mean, I understand everybody was doing it, but hitting on a trash can, you couldn't come up with a better system to use. Like, come on, man.
right. Just go
So
ahead and get
bad.
light, get Morse code out
Yeah,
there.
like, hey guys, look, boom, boom. Like, no, come on.
That's so funny. And Jeff probably
All
has
right.
no idea what we're talking
Well,
about right now.
I'm
We
going to
talk
be
about
honest.
hockey. We talk about hockey.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. The trash can banging, I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'm-
it's sign stealing, if you will, or letting the
Okay.
batter in
Yeah.
the box know what was going
They
on.
they
Pitch
had
was-
a camera in center field that would look at the catcher. So when the catcher would lay down his signs, they go through multiple, one fastball, two curve, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Well, if
Gotcha.
it was an off-speed pitch, a curveball, a changeup, a slider, or something, they would hit the trash can because they had it in real time. So you can go through, and there's people on YouTube you can find. Just search like the Astros cheating scandal, and you'll find the videos, and you can hear them like get the trash can bangs. You can hear them. So
I mean,
it's
you still if they're throwing a hook, you still got to hit the hook,
you
right?
still have to hit it. That's my thinking is like,
Dude.
yeah, I know a curveball is coming, but man, or a 98 mile an hour fastball, the reaction time you have to have for that hand-eye coordination is just, you still have to put wood on a ball. So
You do, and the advantage obviously is if the guy's throwing 4 pitches instead of having they all know all the metrics. They know if you're throwing a fastball, 32% of the time, so they can, if you're only throwing that hook in there 17% of the time, but it now, 100% that hook's
yes.
coming in. So it does give an advantage. But anyway, we appreciate it. I enjoy talking sports, Jeff. He enjoys sports. Some of the finer details of baseball. So.
I enjoy sports, but it's not my life, and I don't go really deep down the rabbit hole on most things. But so bringing it back to the ice world a little bit, was there ever any doubt that you would work in the ice industry, that you would work for the family business, that you wanted to pursue that?
I can't say there was ever any doubt. I think early on as a kid, I knew I enjoyed going to work with my dad and mom. And I mean, I started in the bag room when I was 12 years old. So just it's been a part of my life. And it's one of the things. But yeah, no real doubts about it. So
Okay. Well, I did want to take a second and ask you about kind of our next icebreaker. Since you're a licensed realtor, I want to know, how is the housing market in Texas right now?
So I'm not an active realtor anymore, but I still keep up with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way that the interest rates and everything, it's slowed it down a lot. But if you have a single story, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, it'll go pretty damn quickly. So it's just people are moving to Houston like crazy. They're moving to Texas. So if you have a house and it's priced right, it'll go. So
And a lot of people aren't wanting to, even if they could sell, they've got to turn around and then buy at a higher interest rate. So people aren't wanting to sell and give up the interest rate that they have. So it's
a tough time to sell right now, and it's a tough time to buy with the interest rates, and maybe they come down this year. We'll see.
What got you into wanting to even get your license to start with?
So you asked about doubts for working. My dad and I used to butt heads all the time. I felt like I needed to get away for a little while. And so I left here for about a year and a half and went and did real estate, and then eventually came back over. So,
but sometimes, like they say, stepping away from a situation can give you clarity. I mean, one way or the other, right? I mean, it might have been
Yeah.
something that was going to be a betterment for you personally and your family, but obviously, stepping away from it. And I know they talk about that in relationships. Time apart from the person that you love. Like Jeff and I go on quite a few trips. You do too as well. So you get away for a little while, but I mean, it makes you appreciate coming back as well. So totally understand.
Yeah, I started to say, just completely sarcastically, I can't imagine that. I personally, I can't imagine working every day with my family. Uh, you know, any of the individuals in my family, I love them. I really do.
That's right.
But I couldn't picture going to work and home with them over and over. Probably helps when you grow up and you have your own place that you can retreat to at the end of the night.
Yeah, my mom and dad have like 20 acres of land that they just bought. And he's like, "Hey, you can come, buy an acre or two off me and move out here." I'm like, "No, I don't need you to stop by the house. Like I just I like where a little space and not have to think about work all the time." So,
Yeah, I've got a CPA of mine. Him and his wife, for the longest, probably close to 6, 7 years, not only worked together, but they shared an office. And when I say shared an office, I'm talking about, if one backs up in the chair, they're going to bump the other. And so I couldn't imagine working that. And I'm like Jeff. I mean, I love my wife to death, but we need a little bit of separation. So, but pretty much what you described. Every relationship, I think, a father and son at some point, you're going to butt heads, but that's a part of it. That if you're around each other all the time. So, but yeah, that makes good sense. And so, with that, I want to ask you. Who's been the biggest influence, would you say, in your life, getting you where you're at, or, moving forward, or just who's been your biggest influence?
well, me and my dad, of course, he's such a hard worker, and you kind of look up to him. Both my grandparents or grandpas were hardworking guys. My mom is an amazing woman. She helps me out with a lot of stuff, and I can go to her with any question. My wife and kids, just see them smile. So, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
Go
since,
ahead. Yeah,
since we're talking about your wife and kids, we do have a few of their pictures to share.
okay.
So if you will, just kind of talk us through them a little bit.
Okay, so that's my wife Andrea. We just celebrated 14th anniversary in December. So that was on a trip to Colorado in the summer.
I was going to say it didn't look anywhere like in Texas. So.
No, you're not getting that kind of beauty in Texas. It's we both enjoyed up there, and we try and get up there as often as we can, and the kids love it. And so that was probably outside of Colorado Springs. There was a hike that she wanted to go on, and we we went and did it. So it's a lot of
So
fun.
which one of you? Because if I go to a place that's beautiful, that is that beautiful, and I see a log going over a creek, I'm having to walk across it. Did you attempt it?
I think my son tried to do it.
All
So
right. All right. My son, he's 14. He would. He's not the most nimble. He's a good athlete, but he's still, he's 5 foot. Well, he's almost 5'10" now, but he's had size 13 shoes since he's been 5'4". So he's,
oh man, he's finally growing into his skis, huh?
that's right. Absolutely. Like a little Bozo the Clown walking around with his big old boots. Hey, go ahead and grab another
No,
cup.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It
Hey,
can go. I'm trying to figure out how to turn the volume down on it now.
hey, keep it rocking. All right, we got another one here. So this is awesome, by the way.
Okay, so that was this past Halloween, and so a little backstory on it. My daughter, we were like, "Hey, Julia, what do you want to be for Halloween?" And the first thing she said is she wanted to be Ursula from The Little Mermaid. And we were like, Julia, she was like, "Hey, I want the tentacles, I want the whole shebang." And we're like, "Julia, we can't do it." And then she said she wanted to be she called it a give me candy monster. She said she was going to make a sign and just say like, "Give me candy" or something.
Okay.
And then we came up with an idea that, hey, let's just make an ice bag. And then we were like, "Well, Jackson, any chance you'd want to dress up like Dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've had that hat for him for I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years. And then I went to a place and had them make a shirt. So, I mean, most of the shirts I wear have the Polar Ice there. And so he went as me and she went as an ice bag. So,
Did y'all do any ice bag toss?
no. she, well, you could toss her around. She's so tiny. So,
is she 40 pounds? I
Yeah,
mean,
40
says-
she is
Right.
roughly 50 pounds. She's real small for her age.
Hey, truth in advertising, man. We got 40 pounds right here.
Yeah.
So. Well, I guess people aren't going to complain too much if you get a little bit more product in the
extra.
bag, right? So
Yeah.
it's when you go the other way. So this guy right here, he's starting to look like, what was the quarterback? His name is escaping me. Clemson quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence is actually his favorite quarterback. So
There you go.
He's going to like to watch
He's,
that. Just clip
and
out
he-
this little section.
he's a Jacksonville Jaguars fan too. So he's
There you go.
Sunday was not a fun day at the house with him. So, but he's a Michigan college fan. So last night was fun for him to know that the Michigan won. But he's a man that everything I thought I was as a child athlete, he's like 100 times better. He just has a natural ability to spin a football, throw a baseball. He's super athletic and he's awesome to watch. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'll go ahead and say then we'll just throw out the question that we had about who's the best athlete in the family. So
Yeah.
I would honestly say it's him. At 10 years old, he can outperform. And then it's got to the point where like I used to let him win at stuff.
Yeah.
And it's to the point now where I'm like trying my hardest and there's certain things I can't beat him in. So we have like an indoor little basketball goal kind of thing set up, and his ability to get to the basket is unmatched in the house. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. How about your other family? We saw this picture.
He looks like he might be extended family. I don't know.
That's the juice. The juice was loose in Vegas one night when we were there. So we were that was actually my first IPIA board meeting, or not board meeting, but committee meeting. And we were in Vegas, March of 2020. So if we would have been there, I don't know, a week and a half later, I'd have probably been driving back to Texas because everything shut down. But we were in a bar and we watched two guys walk across the street. And I was standing there with Jesse Morales and Dan Aids. And I was like, that's OJ Simpson walking in. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, that is OJ Simpson walking in this bar. So
I don't know that I've never in my life saw somebody and said, that looks close to OJ. He's pretty unmistakable.
Yeah, there was a lady that was at the meetings with us. She doesn't work for IPIA. I think it was somebody with Suncoast or something. And she's a blonde lady. And she's like, I'm going to go meet him. I'm like, you are his type. So go ahead.
Well, I saw that picture on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere, and I was like, that's just going to be a nice little nugget to throw in there with your family. That'll be
just
fun.
a random night at a bar, and OJ Simpson walked in.
So if you had not become an Iceman, and we're going to have to go ahead and throw out being a realtor, because we've talked about that, what would you have chosen? It could have been professional sports. It could be anything. What would you have chosen? Why?
So I grew up racing dirt bikes. So I always go back to be a pro motocross racer. So, it's like, that's my favorite sport to watch is motocross.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and maybe a coach of some sort. I enjoy coaching my kids. So I go back to, a coach or riding motocross is just, it's a love. So
there is a level of insanity that has to go with enjoying motocross. And I say the same thing about people that get on bikes that I know it's not the same thing but if you're on a bike and you're doing mountain biking, every person that I've known that has gone out and said, I enjoy doing that, the very next thing is like, yeah, I've separated two shoulders, I've had concussions, I've had all this. So how many concussions, how many broken bones, separated shoulders have you had from motocross?
So motocross, maybe one concussion. Never
all the others.
Never broke a bone racing motocross.
What?
I got lucky. Yeah, I mean, and we were racing every weekend, and I mean, it wasn't like we were just putting
Yeah.
around a little circle track. We were jumping and traveling the state, going to races. But I got lucky and never broke a bone. I broken a collarbone in a wreck. I broken a wrist falling, doing snowboarding.
Yeah.
Um, uh, just random stuff here and there. But I got lucky
Wow.
with the dirt
I'll
bike. So
tell you, I had watched motocross, growing up here and there, not hardcore watching it, but just I had an idea. And when I was in my 20s, I happened to be in a small town, went to the ER for something, and they happened to be having a motocross race just down the road, and they brought in this kid that was like 10 years old, screaming, crying, screaming his face off, and he gets in the bed beside me, which I was kind of surprised that they weren't bringing him to like an OR or something, the
Mhm.
way he was screaming. And then I realized he wasn't screaming because he was in pain. He was screaming because he was going to be out of the race for the rest of the weekend, and he was mad, and he just was screaming at the doctor, just tape me up so I can go back. I was like, there is something wrong with these people.
yeah, it's I'd say that people who race motocross or mountain bikes, they probably have a screw loose somewhere, and
No, you
but
have
it's
to be
just
sure.
it's a thrill, man. It's throw your leg over a bike and hit a jump that's 60 feet and just go. So
So neither one of your kids have gotten into it?
my daughter, so the other day, funny story, we were outside and they're riding bicycles, and so where I live in the neighborhood so I live outside of Houston. So we're technically in the county and not in the city. So it's like the Wild West. You can pop fireworks, you can ride dirt bikes, you can ride four wheelers. I mean, there's people riding like shifter carts around the neighborhood. Um, so this kid came by and he rode a wheelie on his dirt bike, and my little girl was like, "Dad, can we get one of those so I can do that?" But so she has like the lack of fear that I had for going fast and jumping. My son is more reserved and that kind of thing. He's more like my wife. He doesn't like to go high. He doesn't like to go fast. But you put him on a football field or a baseball diamond, he's just like all out. It's just how they are. So
So when your daughter said that, do you feel more fear, or do you feel more proud?
it's like a
Hey,
pride thing, I think.
it's a pride thing.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's like, oh man, and be like, oh man, my little girl can do
Yeah.
this. So
Wants to do this. Yeah, that's awesome.
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So, what would you, during your downtime, what do you enjoy to do when I know you like to travel and you're very outdoorsy, but what do you like to do to unwind?
Just hang out at the house with the wife and kids, really. Um, I mean, go on road trips. We like to take them to the zoo. Anything just to see the kids get a smile on their face, really. Fantasy football, uh, baseball, coaching, watching games, just anything to kind of make the day not be just a regular day. So,
You talked about fantasy football. I've heard that you may have had a podcast or still doing a podcast, or what was it about? What were you doing with the fantasy football?
so I got the inspiration from a podcast that I used to listen, or that I still kind of listen to. It's a fantasy football podcast, but they just started it with league mates. So what I would do is I just ask the guys like, "Hey, do you want to get on?" And it started as like a 20 minutes a week, and then we ended up going for an hour, sometime hour and a half, and but we talk fantasy. We talk about stuff that happened in the league that week, or when it was the off season, we would talk about different stuff. We talk about baseball, just sports, and just guys being guys, really. So
So I have to ask you a question because Taylor Swift being in there, and people are railing on her, and all these things. Would she have come up in some of y'all's conversation if you guys were still doing it now?
so I have a buddy named Derek. Okay, he lives in Connecticut, and for whatever reason, he is a huge Taylor Swift fan. So I'm sure him and I, whenever, because he was one of my more regular guests when we would do it. I'm
Yeah.
sure he would bring it up or we would talk about it. But yeah, I mean, he used to heck, when in high school, we had all of our buddies that I went to high school with that worked at the shop, and he's one of the guys that worked here. So he's pretty crazy when he comes to visit and he sees the way we do it now compared to when we were handbagging and hand stacking and stuff like that. So,
I mean, what Taylor Swift has done and the following that she has. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that hate her. I mean, I respect her for all that she's done. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and watch her shows or anything, but just as a business person, it's very, very impressive. And she changes the complete dynamic of a economy of a city. And selling out places 4 or 5 times in a row, nights in a row, and bringing in billions of dollars. It just transforms it.
How many individual people could have a significant effect on the NFL, like the entire,
I mean, there's like a theory right now because the Chiefs are playing like the lone, like NBC or Peacock game, that she's the reason why they got that game, because she'll be there. And you'll get the viewers on you. And it's like, I'm sure they get a whole different demographic of people watching football now. Sure. So, I mean, I saw something that said if Taylor Swift was performing live in my bathroom, I probably wouldn't go. But I mean, like, I respect what she does, and she's super talented. I don't listen to her music. So.
But, right. But if she's performing live in your bathroom, let my wife and daughters know.
My wife and daughter will go watch. So.
Yeah. And I bet the acoustics would be great.
So. Oh yeah, it'd be great in there.
Well, we're getting pretty close to wrapping up here. So, and we appreciate it. And, we really want to know, and what advice, and we've asked several people, and this is kind of a standing question we've had with most of our guests, but what advice would you have for someone new to the industry?
So just don't give up, man. Go out there and get it. Just hustle, and don't be scared to go take customers, really. There's plenty of ice companies that don't do a good job. Just do a great job and be customer service driven. And that's what we base ourselves on is, hey, I'm going to give you the best package of ice. I'm going to give you the best service you're going to get, and you won't want to leave us. I mean, we provide ice and water, and we want you to not go anywhere else. We want you to come here and refer your friends and your, people who own other businesses, and, just say, hey, this is a great company, and just strive to be a great company and be hardworking. So
you take a company and everybody knows Disney, right? So you go to Disney World, and I would say that the level of service has slacked off a little bit there, but still you go to Disney and everybody being so cheery and the customer service you're talking about. Like my wife and I distinctly remember the first 2 times or first few times that we went, whenever we left and we were driving, and then you stop by McDonald's and you realize, we're not in Kansas anymore. So, it's way, way different. And that's my whole point of talking about that is what you're saying, the customer service aspect, that you make a difference. If somebody goes to somebody else or they pick you up as being their service provider, it's a noticeable difference, right? So, and that's what you want to be. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And like, we just want to be the best, and, for customer service is what we go for. And I know that you guys don't talk about your product that much, but your app that you guys have helps us get into a lot of doors. So, thanks for that, man.
That's great to hear. I hadn't heard you say that before. I appreciate that you're saying it on our channel where everyone can hear.
Well, and I don't think we've never even talked about this really, Jeff, that, the whole purpose, I mean, we could go and promote our stuff. Yeah, we have a small sign right here, but, this podcast isn't about promoting our brand, our business. I mean, hey, does it help? Well, we hope so, but we just enjoy doing it. Yep. And for our 10th episode, and you're our first ones, I don't know if anybody would notice these awesome, cool mics. And I mean, our voices sound like butter right now. So we're hoping to make an improvement because we're making so much no money, in doing this podcast.
So much unmoney.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But No, we appreciate that as well. But I'm glad you recognize that, we don't talk about, our day job, if you will. So,
Yeah.
but that's how we keep the lights on. So anyway.
Well, I think that's good advice for every business,
Right.
whether it's an ice business or another small business, somebody just getting started. I think just trying to set yourself apart with the very best product, the very best service that you can give. I mean, really, and then like you said, don't give up, right?
That's
So
right.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean, the podcast is awesome. I told you guys before, but I listened to all of them. It's something that I think is pretty cool in the industry, and I hope it keeps going because I really enjoy it. So I appreciate you guys asking
Well,
me to come on and do it. So
absolutely. Like I said, we make no money at it. Who knows if that'll ever change, but we do it because we love it. And we feel like it's an opportunity for us to give back to the industry that's given us a lot. And, it's been well received by many people, and we appreciate, watching every episode. So we assume, and you must watch yourself back whenever we publish this one.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of my own voice, but I'll definitely check it out and send it to some people and let them watch it. My wife is gonna watch it, so it's
And send
fun.
it to
I
Derek.
enjoy it. Yeah, I'm gonna send Derek. Well, we have going back to the podcast, we have a group of guys that we have like a group chat with. So I told them about it, so they'll definitely get the link and watch it. So shout out to the Keeper Club. So
There you go. There you go.
All right. The boys got the shout out.
That's
All
right.
right.
yeah.
Well, we've been coming to you from the RouteMan studios from KCS headquarters in Pelham, Alabama. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you at the next convention and look forward to working with you more in the future.
Have a great one, Ryan.
Yes, y'all have a good day. Thank you.